and podcast number 3. Find the exact value of sine of 240 degrees. When I say exact value, that means don't use a calculator. You should not have any decimals in your answer. You can have square roots, but you should be able to do this without a calculator. And when it's exact, that means most likely you're going to either use the 30, 60, 90 triangle, where this is 2, this is 1, and this is the square root of 3. Or the other possibility is you use the 45, 45, 90 triangle. And when these two angles are the same, then these two sides across from the 45 and 45 are the same. And they can be 1 and 1. And then if you do the Pythagorean theorem and solve for this side, it's going to be the square root of 2. So let's see, what about 240 degrees? So if you start from the x-axis, the positive x-axis is considered 0 degrees, and you go from here up to there, that's 90 degrees. If you go from here all the way around to here, that's going to be 180 degrees. And then if you go down to the negative y-axis, that's 270. So 240 degrees would be approximately like this. So in other words, if you go from here all the way around to the line that I just drew, that's 240 degrees. Then what I'm going to do is make a right triangle. And then this right triangle is going to end up being one of these two. So which one is it? Well, if you go from here to there, that's 180. And if you go from here to there, that's 240. So 240 minus 180, that will leave 60. So that means that this angle is 60 degrees. Consequently, this bottom one is 30 degrees. Now using this, across from 30, that's a 1. So across from 30, this side would be 1. Across from the 60 is the square root of 3. So across from 60 is the square root of 3. And across from 90 is a 2. So it is that triangle, it's just that it's upside down. Now sine. So the fact that we're going to use is this is called a reference angle. So for the 240, you could go from here all the way around until you get to right there, and that's 240 degrees. And then we subtracted this 180, leaving the 60. So the 60 is known as the reference angle. And the fact that we're going to use is when you take sine of 240 degrees and you take sine of 60 degrees, you will get the same answer with the exception that it's either supposed to be positive or negative. And that part we'll figure out in just a second. So sine of 60. So here's the 60. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's square root of 3 over 2. So we've almost got our answer. Just need to decide, is it supposed to be positive or negative? Well, that's where this little thing comes in real handy. A smart trig class. This tells you when the functions are positive. So in the first quadrant, A for all of the trig functions are positive. In the second quadrant, sine would be positive. In the third quadrant, tangent would be positive. And in the fourth quadrant, cosine would be positive. So because this is in the third quadrant, our answer for tangent would be positive, but for sine it would be negative, and cosine it would be negative. So for sine, it's actually going to be negative. Now, I could check my answer using a calculator. So notice this is the exact answer, no decimals, but if I want to check the answer, then I'll go like this. First of all, find out what decimal this is. Negative the square root of 3 divided by 2. It's that as a decimal. Then I need to take sine of 240 degrees. Right now my calculator's in radians mode, so there's two ways to measure angles, radians and degrees. I need to change this to degrees. So go to mode, move down, right now it's on radians, change it to degrees and hit enter. Now put second quit. Now it's going to be in degrees and go sine of 240, and the answer is exactly the same. Now I'm not going to put that decimal answer on here. I was just using that to see if I got it right, and I did.